Hello everyone, my name is Disha. Let's continue from the last video and we left at the 10th shlok from the Bhagavad Gita. So continuing from the 11th shlok from the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the 11th shlok says, Duryodhan continues, all of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhisma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Now coming to the explanation of this shlok, Duryodhan emphasized that Bhisma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhan clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhisma Dev. Now coming to the 12th shlok from the Bhagavad Gita, from the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which says, Then Bhisma, the great valiant grandchild of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy. Now coming to the explanation of this shlok. The grandchild of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhan, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very, very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhan that he had no chance of victory in the battle, because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still it was his duty to conduct the fight and no pains would be spared in that connection. Now coming to the 13th shlok, which says, After that the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Now coming to the 14th shlok, which says, On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by the white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Now coming to the explanation of this shlok. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhisma Dev, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Victory is always with persons like sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjun, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjun, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides, wherever it was drawn. Over the three worlds. Now coming to the 15th shlok of the first chapter, which says, Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Pankhjanya. Arjun blew his Devadat, and Bhim, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra. Now coming to the explanation of this shlok. Lord Krishna is referred to as Harsikesa in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entity are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. The Lord, situated in the hearts of all living entities, directs their senses. But he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity, and in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjun. So the particular type of conch shells blown by the different personalities on the side of the Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there was no such credits, nor the presence of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Director, nor that of the Goddess of Fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle, and that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch shells. Now coming to the Shlok 16th, 17th and 18th, which says, King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Anant Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew their Sugosa and Manispuka. The great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter Sikandi, Drishtyadum, Virat, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Now coming to the explanation of this shlok. Sanjay informed King Dhritarashtra that his unwise policy of deceiving the sons of Pandu and endeavouring to enthrone his own sons on the seat of kingdom was not very laudable. The signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in that great battle, beginning with the grandsire Bhisma down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others, including kings from many states of the world. All were present there and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. Now coming to the 19th shlok of the Bhagavad Gita, which says, the blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Now coming to the explanation of this shlok. When Bhisma and the others on the side of Duryodhan blew their respective conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. But the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas' party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. So one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. Now coming to the 20th shlok, which says, at that time Arjun, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjun spoke to Lord Krishna. So what he spoke to Lord Krishna will be the next shlok. Before that, let's come to the explanation of this shlok that I just said. The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjun is another sign of victory because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Ram in the battle between Ram and Ravan, and Lord Ram emerged victorious. Now both Ram and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjun to help him. Lord Krishna is Ram himself, and wherever Lord Ram is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore Arjun had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever, and above all the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus all good counsel was available to Arjun in the matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee lay the signs of assured victory. Now coming to the 21st and 22nd Shlok, which says, Arjun said to Lord Krishna, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here, who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Now coming to the explanation of this Shlok. Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein as infallible. As charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjun, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes great pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjun had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhan, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. So this completes the 22 shloks of the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. We will continue further in the next video. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Disha, and I'll see you guys in the next video.